Hi, I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical
And
therapist.
together we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course, Bob.
Brad, we got a request by one of our followers or one of our subscribers that we maybe talk about what he can do for shoulder impingement in the water. He's a swimmer, so he was trying to talk about what could he do to help lessen the likelihood that he's going to make it worse.
Right,
So-
if you're a swimmer, the likelihood of getting a shoulder injury is much higher than normal, and they even got a swimmer's shoulder. I was swimming this morning actually and working on some of my techniques that I use to help manage my shoulders.
And you were the guy I knew to go to because I don't swim at all. I mean, I know how to swim, but I don't swim for exercise. So I said, I'd talk to Brad. Probably hurt your shoulders doing that, didn't I? And now he's going to show us 3 things to do in the water.
Yep.
And then we'll have another video to show 3 things to do out of the water. Is
Right,
that all we're going to do?
right.
Okay.
These are the most 3 important things that I think you can do to minimize shoulder pain, okay? First
Okay.
one is, you'll have to move, Bob.
Yep, I'm going to get out of the way.
I was working on this morning actually while I was swimming. Okay, well, pretend this blue is water. This worked out pretty
Yeah,
good.
this worked out
Bob.
pretty good, yeah.
Blue water, and you're swimming like this. Now, I'm talking about if you crawl, okay? Where you crawl, I call it the crawl, where you're doing this stroke, okay? Now, this part of the stroke puts the most stress on the shoulder. When you're coming up and over, and what I do wrong oftentimes is I straight arm it, and I come up like this and into the water. Okay, there happened to be a coach there this morning that just said, yeah, he said, you're swimming wrong and you put a lot of stress on your shoulders. So I thought, okay, and what you want to do, and if you're a swimmer, you know this drill, you come up and you do the fingertip drag where your fingertips go across the water, high elbow, and then in. And that takes a lot of stress off the shoulder. It'll make you faster, by the way, too, but we're talking about shoulder pain. So the fingertip drag, or you can think of your thumb going right up your ribs, up to your armpit, and then reach out in front of you, and do not cross over the midline. If you look straight ahead of you, it should, where the hand enters the water should be out more in front of the shoulder, and that'll also help. So it's kind of nice that the things that take stress off your shoulder actually make you faster,
Make it faster,
as well.
too. And that's usually the case, isn't it?
You bet. Okay, the next thing is when you're at the end of the pool and you did your few laps and you're taking a rest and talking to your buddy or whoever they're swimming with you, while you're in the water, be in the water about shoulder level, do this exercise. Open your hands up for resistance in the water. Let's say the water is this deep and you go out like this, elbows stay close to the ribs, and you go in, both hands, and that's working specifically the rotator cuff muscles that maintain that shoulder and keep it in place. The mechanics are important, and these muscles work it.
Those are the muscles that help stabilize the shoulder
There you
and the
go.
joints so
Yeah.
it doesn't pinch as much. And we'll show this at the end of the video. So.
Yep, and you do this about 10 to 15, and you can do that throughout your swimming workout. If you're there for a half an hour, you might do it 3 different times. Okay, and then the next thing is really important is do interval training instead of just doing the crawl. If you're going to go 1,000 yards for the whole 1,000 yards, every 100 or 200 yards, throw 25 yards or 1 lap or 1 length doing the breaststroke. And when you do the breaststroke, modify a little bit. Instead of reaching way out in front of you like they teach you when you swim for speed, just don't go so far out in front and keep it in close. And that way the shoulder will be less stressed, and it's going to take the impingement off of the tissues, which we're going to get into with the model. Leopold, is that his name?
Napoleon.
Napoleon.
Bone apart.
Okay, should we show?
Yeah, let's go ahead and show
Okay.
that. That makes sense, by the way, Brad, because you're not flexing the shoulder up as high. And that's
Right.
where a lot of the pinching goes on.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so if you want to know more than just the exercises and what really is happening on in the shoulder, this is why now Napoleon here,
Yeah.
he lost his arm.
All right, you have a ball.
Mm-hmm.
You see that, Lonnie? All right, this is the ball, the head of the shoulder, and that goes into kind of a socket here. Now the pinch areas are right here under the acromion and on this ligament, which we used some tape to indicate that this is actually the
Allow the pointer. Bob.
coracoid acromion ligament. So either way those areas can pinch, and there's not a lot of room there, Brad.
Right.
So as soon as you do something wrong, and this also represents a ligament, it gets pinched. So I think the best way to show is actually put a finger in there, Brad.
Well, yeah, put your finger in there,
So
Bob.
if you have a tendon or a ligament right there,
But this finger's in the way,
Yeah.
they can't
Oh.
see the pinch.
am I supposed to put my middle finger in there?
I don't care.
As you show.
But when you do the swim stroke, your shoulder's coming up over, and that gap in there, that pinching is at a maximum potential. And it's hard to do this with Napoleon or Leopold or whatever he is, but those are the
That's
structures.
getting pinched right there.
Yep, those are the
Pinch,
tissues
pinch.
that pinch, pinch, pinch.
So the more you strengthen those muscles, by the way, that he does with that one when you're moving the arm out, the more that head of the bone is gonna sit in there so it doesn't pinch as much.
Right,
The
right.
muscles help hold it in there
Right.
correctly, so.
And you know, here you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Be careful. If you hit your head with that bone, you've got a
Yeah.
problem. All right. So very good. Swimmer's shoulder. A few exercises in the water that's going to help you out. And like we say, if you're in a river town, swim like a dolphin, not like a barge.
All right, thanks a lot. Subscribe.